Guys, it seemed like this day would never come, but we've got the first look of Amazon's The Lord of the Rings and the release date. The episodes will be dropping on Amazon Prime. Weekly episodes start September the 2nd, 2022, so next year. And if you think about it, this show was announced in November 2017. So once the episodes drop, it's almost 5 years since it was first announced. It's been a long road. People outside of the community don't understand what this means to us. And as for the mind-blowing photo, yep, that's the Two Trees of Valinor. Telperion and Laurelin, the Two Trees of Valinor created by the Valar Yavanna, which would later be destroyed by Melkor and Ungoliant. Remember, Melkor, also known as Morgoth, was Sauron's master, and Ungoliant was some sort of dark creature which took the form of a spider, and one of her spawn is Shelob. The two trees were destroyed, but a fruit from the golden tree and a flower from the silver one were used to create the sun and moon. Yeah guys, we're going right back to almost the beginning of Tolkien. The trees were around before the First Age, in the years of the trees. And we know Amazon's show is supposedly, or it's been confirmed now, it's going to be covering this Second Age of Middle-earth. So this is getting a bit confusing. But we know this shot will be taken from the very first episode. But we don't know who the character is. But I've seen tons of speculation. From Manwë to Sauron to Galadriel to Erendil. Basically any character that's meant to be on the show. And the rest. But if I was a betting man, my money would be on Galadriel. As she is probably the most popular character that's going to be around. You know, she's the most recognisable one. She's one of the main characters. We all know who Galadriel is. Makes sense to have her as the first character shown, even if it's from behind. But it might not be Galadriel. But that is definitely the Two Trees of Valinor, and probably the city of Tirion, in Eldmar, the land of the elves and Aman. But yeah, you're probably confused if you're not a big Tolkien fan, if you haven't read the Silmarillion. This is not the Second Age, but don't worry, it's probably just from the prologue. Either, maybe the first episode, maybe the first two, or perhaps just the start of the first one. However long it is, it's probably going to be, a Fellowship of the Ring style prologue, narrated by a character, explaining what happened before the Second Age, the creation of Arda, the world, explaining the powers, the Valar, the Maiar. And remember, Sauron, who is going to be a massive character on the show, is one of the Maiar. A lesser angel, whereas the Valar, greater angels. Best way to describe it. They're not gods, they're just the powers of the world. There's only one god in Tolkien. But what does Valinor and the Two Trees have to do with the Second Age of Middle-earth? Numenor and Sauron, the Rings of Power. Like I said, I think this is all from the prologue, and its main purpose is to set up the world, the story, but also more importantly, Sauron, who I think this entire series revolves around. His decisions, his actions. From manipulating the Free Peoples, to creating the Rings of Power, and the destruction of Numenor. It's all down to him. And during this show we're going to see a side to Sauron that we never saw in Peter Jackson's films. He will be one of the main characters, and probably the main villain. The Sauron that we see on the show is going to be much more than a Dark Lord or a Flaming Eye. It's possible that he might even narrate this prologue. Like I said, if I was a betting man, it's probably either between him or Galadriel. Galadriel because she narrated the Fellowship of the Ring prologue, and all the other reasons I mentioned earlier. But you could also have Sauron narrate it, because that's a little twist on it. You've got the main villain narrating the prologue. We might not even know who he is when he's talking at first. It's quite similar to The Dragon Prince over on Netflix, if you've watched that. The narrator for the prologue was Arvos, who seems to be the main villain. And this prologue will go into more details, but it's all about Sauron, explaining who he is, why he turned against the Valar and sided with Morgoth, and why he wants to rule Middle-earth. Guys, this shot might even jump straight into the destruction of the Two Trees. We might see Morgoth and Ungoliant, and it can also show us the beings that Sauron is sided with, but it could also show us how different he is to them, how different he is to his master Morgoth. Morgoth wants destruction, to leave his permanent image on the world, to be able to create dark beings, whereas Sauron just wants to rule, he wants control. But this is all speculation, this is just my 2 cents. The trees are amazing, but I think they're going to be a small part of this show. They're not around during the Second Age, which is the main part of this story. And like I said, you can't do the event prior to the First Age, the first age itself and the second age on one show, unless we're talking 20 plus seasons. But I'm glad they're going to touch upon the events prior, probably in a prologue. But I might be completely wrong, this is all speculation, I'm just rambling. Most of this video is just my theories, speculation, just my thoughts. Like, don't take any of this as guaranteed, take it with a grain of salt. Or take it like this, perhaps this prologue goes two ways. It's not only just about Sauron, it's also about Galadriel. Maybe she witnesses the destruction of the two trees. Like some of the prologues all about Sauron establishing who he is, but also establishing Galadriel and what she's went through. As it's possible they could be the two main characters of the entire series, either side of the chessboard. Like if we go back when I said it might be Galadriel or Sauron as the narrator, what happens if it's both of them? You get Galadriel's point of view and Sauron's point of view. Makes it more balanced. But yeah, we're getting sidetracked now. The show's about the second age, but this is before the first age of Middle-earth. The first age and earlier deserve their own TV show. Unless they are a big part of Amazon's show. Who knows, but they have said it's the second age. So this has to be part of the prologue. You honestly cannot do all the events prior to the second age justice of just a few episodes, or even a full season. It would have to be a full-on TV show. So yeah, my money's on some sort of Fellowship of the Ring style prologue, narrated by a character we know, either Galadriel or Sauron. And this is one of the shots straight out of that. And I love it. It's an amazing shot, and I am hyped for this. And I want you guys to speculate down in the comments below about anything, about the trees, about the characters. Who is this character in front of the trees? Let's talk Lord of the Rings. Like, it's been a long wait. You know, we've had times where there was absolutely nothing. And even now we almost have nothing because this is all we have. There's a lot of leaks and all that, but there's just so much details out there. So much information we don't know. But this is just the beginning. This year is going to be huge. And more so next year. A lot of information is going to drop. Make sure you subscribe to get all the videos because Lord of the Rings is going to be huge on this channel. So yeah, we've got Lord of the Rings dropping next year in September. But before that, this year, The Witcher over on Netflix is going to be dropping in Season 2 this December, just before Christmas. That's going to take top priority this year. And then once that's done, moving into next year, we're going to be talking a lot about Fantastic Beasts 3, as that film's coming out in July. So yeah, Witcher, big focus this year. And then Lord of the Rings, Fantastic Beasts next year. And all the other stuff as well. Check out the channel. You'll find something you like. And we're going to be picking this up. There's going to be a lot more stuff coming. A lot more films and TV shows. I'm stepping this up. It's time to get more videos done. It's time I take this serious again. As the last year or two, it's been very casual, as you've noticed. But yeah, this is just the beginning. Hype for what's coming. And instead of making a video, I'll talk quickly about Narnia over Netflix. I've had a lot of questions asking about its current state of production. Right now, guys, we know nothing. We know Netflix will be adapting the books. That's about it, but I don't know when. I think they got the rights way back in 2018. But right now, it's nowhere near ready. We'll probably not see it for a few years, if it ever happens. But fingers crossed, Narnia is awesome. Like, chances are, if you love Lord of the Rings, you've heard of Narnia. Like, Tolkien and C.S. Lewis were pretty close friends. And fantasy's making a big comeback, and it's all because of Game of Thrones. And Lord of the Rings is the next level. And you're going to get all these other shows as well. Narnia, The Wheel of Time, The Witcher. Fantasy's back. Fantasy's king. Anyways, guys, I think I've rambled enough today. Leave a like for the Two Trees. Subscribe for more Lord of the Rings videos, and I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.